Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be playing Elise and we'll be facing off against the Fiddlesticks adventure from the Nightmares campaign. I just realized we need to beat a 6.5 star adventure from the Nightmares campaign or World Adventures campaign with either Elise or Shivana in order to get a reward. So that's what we're doing today. I chose Fiddlesticks because obviously it's the hardest one, so that will prove to be a decent enough challenge. I'm still running Fear Cleaving Axe and Queen's Embrace on Elise because they're obviously great, but I changed the Beast Within for Death Soil because with the amount of removal in this adventure, I think the extra survivability on Elise is going to be good enough. Sweet Solitude, Vanguard Lookout, Beagle the Sprinkle. Beagle the Sprinkle is interesting with our spiderlings that we get off of the Elise and from the Brood Awakening. But I don't know if that's good enough. I think we can do better. Light the Way, Stabilize, Reunited. Oh, Stabilize is huge for this deck. Getting 2 Elises at the start of the game instead of just 1 means we can just double up on the amount of buffs from our Spirit Cleaving Axe and the amount of Spiderlings generated. Fear Cleaving Axe, not Spirit. The Axe gives Spirit. The opponent starts off strongly with 2 Twisted Catalyzers. I'll actually give him priority, just hopefully get him to spend his mana on something. So that he can't deal with the Elise right away. Really? No blocks from the opponent. That's an interesting decision.
There is light yet within me.
And no attacks in the turn right after. Is the opponent trolling?
Is beneath the skin.
Seems like he's making some very poor decisions. I mean, now he just dies just off of the impact on my units. Well, that was extremely easy. I guess he was very intimidated by my first ward of Elise's, and he was so intimidated that he didn't want to block and then proceeded to not want to attack. More spiderlings, sure. Spiderlings are decent. Rumble, Ilawi, or Teemo. Teemo has Elusive and Scout, which is very tempting. But unfortunately we don't really have a lot of ways to trap cards in the opponent's deck. Shadow Totem Immortal Rue is good for the sake of keeping the board presence, maybe some blockers. Decisions. I can also just reroll. Shroom Explosion deals 6 to a unit. Let's reroll. Pike, Jarvan, or nah, those are way too slow. I'm not even going to bother looking at those items. Nasus, Nyla, Ari. Thieves' Gloves does nothing for Ari, but it might be our best bet. Just because the quick attack, Spell Shield and Regeneration are all good keywords to have Another spiderlings. Yeah, let's take the Ari. Vicious Mockery or Shadow in the Brush? They both lead to the spell's chest, so let's go for the Shadow in the Brush. It might be easier to deal with than the Vicious Mockery. Just because the Vicious Mockery bases its, or the encounter is based on removing my units through Gloom instead of just raw damage or kill spells. Ari... that's rather unfortunate. I was hoping to get a Elise, so I can go for a big swing turn right away. I guess I'll save the Ari for this turn, so we can use her as a way to capture 2 units, deny some of the opponent's attack power. Then we can trade in this Ari, which is going to die right away anyway. Wait, did they fix Steve's gloves? The Ari didn't have Ninja Tabi before. Maybe they fixed Steve's gloves. Let's drop down the Frenzied Skitterer just to have something on board. Towering Pair of Fun transforms. Everything is extremely scary at this point. Let's attack like this. I want to keep the units on board. Next turn I'll stun the Overwhelm unit. I'll stun one of the Overwhelm units, I suppose.
Just like I taught you. Fang's turn.
Then I'll have to take the extra damage from the Overwhelm.
You like spiders?
Take the 18. It's fine. I'm going to get a Spiderling here. Can actually go for 2 additional Spiderlings here. What would be more damage? I guess more Spiderlings are more damage.
Forest surrounds us.
Since the opponent can't deal with them.
She steps into moonlight.
Unfortunately, we don't get an Elise. I desperately need the impact to help increase the lethality of our Spiderlings. At least the opponent isn't really posing that much of a threat. Towering Paraffins are scary, sure, but they're not game winning yet. And I can do this to minimize the amount of damage I take. Withdraw unit. Can fill up our board with Spiderlings yet again. That's exactly what I'll do. Next turn I'll drop down an Arachnoid host. And in theory, that should be enough to close out this game. Even with the units I already have on board, I have enough. Let's just attack right away, deny the opponent the opportunity to react with something. Oh, that was unfortunate. Not getting the Elise definitely screwed us because we didn't have access to the board presence we get on the first turn that helps us move on to a point where we can close out the game. It's fine, we'll just draw better next game. Wuju Style, Splinter Soul. The Absolver. I guess we're taking Splinter Soul just because it allows us to draw a champion. Dread, Thalassophobia. Thalassophobia has a lot of overwhelm units, but it also is an encounter where the opponent struggles with dealing with stuff, with anything that's not attacking. So maybe we'll have an easier time than against the other encounter. And we obviously don't draw an Elise right away, because why would we? It's not like our entire game plan centers around being able to use Elise to our advantage.
Who's on top of the bounty board today?
Especially being doubled up and all. At least I can go double Spiderling here.
Light steps. Few steps into moonlight.
Does this work like I wanted it? Like I wanted to? Honestly, I shouldn't attack at all with that unit.
Ooh, got some fighting, yeah.
Oh, right. Ari no longer has elusive. I completely forgot about that part. Well, I guess new game plan is to try and use the Arachnoid Sentry to try and draw into Elise or one of our other champions, namely the secondary. Let's block there. Yeah, let's take the 12. That's Splinter Soul. That draws us a champion. I think I have to do it. There's the Elise we needed. Let's attack like so. Keep growing our Spiderlings. Uses the list. At the very least, the fact that our Spiderlings have Spell Shield means the opponent can just easily use a list to get rid of one of them. In fact, the opponent seems more keen on using the list to remove Spell Shield than anything else. Let's block all of the opponent's units. Take as little damage as possible. Then we are going to drop down 3 Spiderlings. Set up so that we go up to 4. And then next turn we can play Elise and double buff this entire board.
You won't suffer long. Skitter out from the dark.
There we go. Now this is more like it. The extra stats from the evolve help a lot. Yeah, that does nothing. Oh, you're going to attack that Spiderling. That's definitely going to be relevant in the long run. Not like I'm going to get a free Spiderling at the end of the turn or anything.
Smooth as silk.
fine. What do I even do? I think I just pass, honestly. He's striking. That's Spiderling. Sure. I'll use the Elise to get 2 Spiderlings back, though. Just to keep board presence. Then he does that. Let's minimize damage taken by using Mark of the Owls there. And we'll block there. And we're fine. We can even develop some extra Spiderlings that we get off of the Spirit Stone, just to keep our board full. Man, these last 2 games were rough. Not getting the Elise in the opening hand was a very big problem. Fortunately, things are going to be different in the next encounter. Surely. House Spider? Yeah. It's an additional source of Spiderlings, so sure. Also, let's go for the shop. Wild Fist is a great card. Adaptation is huge. It's actually the power that we're supposed to have as our 4th star with Elise, but I don't have Elise at 4 stars. Obviously we're going for the healing here. Not the expensive one, just the free one. I want to save our health for the future, or our money for the future. And we finally get an Elise at the start of the game. I'll keep the Splinter Soul, because we can go Elise this turn, attack, then we can follow it up with a something else, with a Splinter Soul in our next attacking turn.
I'll see all this world has to offer.
Ooh, these Spiderlings are going to get a bunch of buffs. Let's attack like so.
The forest surrounds us.
Yes, our Spiderlings are going to get lifesteal, which means we're never going to die.
2 steps into moonlight.
I want to get a Spiderling back to our hand. This deals less damage, but it kills one of the opponent's units. Nah, this is fine, as is. We're going to get an Elise back to our hand. All of our units are going to be extremely buff. Yari dies, but what really matters is that our Spiderlings have spell shield, regeneration, and lifesteal, so not only are they extremely hard to deal with, I'm just going to be able to heal off of any damage they deal. Let's stun that unit. Yeah, that's fine. It's the only unit that can potentially threaten the Elise. Then for the other ones, I can just do this. The opponent's doing a desperation attack, obviously. I come out on top of this trade. I get an additional Spiderling back. In fact, none of the opponent's units are going to be able to block my Spiderlings next turn because of our power. Fearsome allies can only be blocked by units with 5+ power. and combine that with the elusive, that means this is a free win. Damn. Games where we draw the Elise are so much different from the games where we don't draw the Elise. I guess adaptation also had something to do with it. We rolled some very good keywords for our spiderlings. And now we can ensure they have elusive by getting Ninja Tabi for the Elise. Yeah, sure. It makes it so the spiderlings can trade into the opponent's units, but we don't really need them to trade into the opponent's units. Ooh, stacked against them is great in this adventure, since we're building towards a large deck. We are going to get a bunch of cost reduction from that power. Obviously we go for the survive the night because the other encounter is based on removing my units to deal damage to my nexus, and I don't think we can deal with that. We draw the Elise, so that means we win. Hopefully. Depends on whether or not the opponent goes for an open attack here. Ooh. Our spiderlings now have Deathless.
Skitter out from the
That's game winning right there. Lifesteal and Deathless. Now the opponent just poses no threat to us. Yeah, sure. I'll gladly trade all of my units in.
What's your hurry?
That's definitely going to be relevant opponent.
So young.
It's not like all of my units come back or anything. Including the Elise.
So young.
2 leveled up Elises are significantly worse than 2 unleveled up Elises though.
Beauty is beneath.
But it's fine. It's a scary board. He attacks with it. Let's just trade in. We lose the Elise. It's fine. Because one of our spiderlings that had Deathless died, we now get to develop 3 spiderlings that will have Deathless. 4 actually, because we get one at the end of the turn. The Undyings are growing nicely though. They can be a problem. Let's let the opponent have priorities just to see what he does. He attacks. I'll do that there, since this spiderling doesn't have Deathless. And then we can do this. We'll pull here, restore the majority of our health back anyway. So that entire attack from the opponent didn't really achieve anything. And the opponent dies next turn, because he takes 20. I got lucky, the opponent didn't hit any of his healing. If he had hit his healing, the game could have gone on for longer. But he didn't have any cards in hand. And I had a bunch of answers to potential plays he had. So I guess I wasn't really under any threat. Grifter's deck on the Homecoming. Whimsy. I'm actually going to pick up the Whimsy because it can work as a sort of removal for more problematic units that have last breath effects. We have 800, let's go for the shop. Beagle Dust Sprinkle. Yeah, it works with our spiderlings. And now it also works with our Stabilize, so it's fine. Mark of the Isles with giving us some extra stats is nice. But champion item chest coming up. I'll use one reroll here. Maybe we can get something decent. Crumble. I'll pick up some crumble. Now we're at 42. I want quicksand. Quicksand is a very good card. Nah, let's pass. We don't want to dilute our deck that hard. We already have a decent collection of cards that we can pull from. This is unfortunate. Wither Oil is here. Oh, Wither Oil is. We're fine then.
Oh good. More fodder for a pointless struggle.
We develop Elise right away.
I don't fight.
Really? You're crumbling one of my Elises. That's unfortunate. We're not going to get the keywords off of that Elise.
So young.
Well, I guess I'll develop these two spiderlings,
My darling.
since I won't get any bonus from the second Elise. That does hamper our game plan a little bit. Our spiderlings not having the additional keywords is not that great. Overwhelm was unnecessary, but the quick attack would mean they get free trades into the opponent's stuff. That's the one that I really wanted. Let's stun there. The opponent probably doesn't attack here. Yep, that's what I figured would happen. I'll develop the Ari
Forest and I are
for the sake of the keywords we get off of her.
surrounds us. Like steps.
And this is probably lethal unless the opponent has two sets of spells to deal with our spiderlings, since they have spell shield. Yep. We got significant, very lucky with our powers and upgrades this run. We're now at the point where we just kind of win against any encounter, I think. Let's buff up the card that's already in my deck. Deathless Elise, well, that's just a win more power if I've ever seen one. Spiderlings have Bright Staff by default. Huge. Let's not cut a card. And now it's time to bully Fiddlesticks. Crumble. I'll keep one Spiderling and one Shadow Isle Stealstones. Now watch as I don't draw these against the final encounter. What did I say? It's like I'm a psychic or something. Since Ari has two Iceborne Gauntlets, I'm going to let the opponent develop stuff. Let's play the Ari now.
Should run free. Too slow.
Let's drop down to Spiderlings, I guess. The Spiderlings at least have
Like steps.
the will have Deathless,
The forest surrounds us.
so they'll be able to act as decent blockers. You've recalled 5+ unit. I'm going to let this Spiderling be recalled, just so I have a backup Spiderling in hand. Right. these extra spiderlings might cost me in the long run. Not sure, I take this pass anytime. With release. Let's hope the opponent doesn't have removal.
What lurks in the shadows.
Okay, doesn't have removal. Then I just win. We pull here.
2 steps into moonlight.
Let's not bounce my units. I don't want to die because I ended up burning my deck.
Skitter out from the darkness.
Yeah, I don't think Vengeance is going to save you, opponent. Not against units that have Spell Shield. We have so many spiderlings, we even burned one.
Let me change into something more comfortable.
The opponent's just dead next turn, unless he pulls off something incredible here. He doesn't. Well, that was easy. The hardest games really were the ones where I didn't have access to the spiderlings or to the Elise to generate spiderlings right away. Ooh, Gloomy is actually a way to kill my units. My Elise at least. Unfortunately, that's not good enough. Too late, opponent.
Remember this moment.
That was nice. Runs with Elise are always fun. Elise is rather strong. Guess it makes sense. I do have a full relic slotted Elise, so one would expect her to be strong. So yeah, that will be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Till then.